Let me once again thank Parveen Prashant and the Indian Chemical News for extending me an invitation to participate from the academic side. I have been participating in such events of the ICN, probably from my Indira Gandhi National Open University days. It is very important to have communication with the industries, whether it be in any area, whether it be logistics, chemistry, whatever it may be. It is very important to have effective communication with the academics. Effective communication with the training and education training and capacity building. And in this connection, of course, governments, national organizations bring several schemes, but only by promoting the independent initiatives of academic institutions and also maybe taking them into confidence and then working together with academic institutions, we can really achieve great success. I represent a private university. After retirement from the government, I work for a private university for the last 8 years, Somaiya Vidyavihar University. We have a good number of programs jointly designed and executed by industries collaboration. I don't want to make a speech about Somaiya Vidyavihar University, therefore it's very important. For example, today's theme, of course, it's some sort of a poetical, that it is, disruption, innovation and resilience. Disruption is like Shiva Tandava dance, disruption. And innovation is the rhythm that transforms chaos into creation. And resilience is the strength to keep it moving forward, just as Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, that is. So we have to just look at. We have seen, of course, earlier speakers. Mr. Srikanth, Mr. Selvi mentioned about many of such things happening because of the disruption, the changes happened, how we have to be vigilant about such things in the future also. And of course, we are going to hear, I have been listening to Mr. Purohit when he was in the Department of Chemicals of the Government of India. In such occasions we used to meet. Now he is heading a very important portfolio, one of the oldest port in the country. It is a 17th century port, sir. Yes. It is a 17th century port, and it is now known as Chidambaram Trust, named after V.O. Chidambaram Pillai, who started the first Indian ship company. He of course, I know a little bit Tamil because I come from the south. There is also a big autonomous college named after him there. It is in Tuticorin, near Tuticorin. And this particular port is one of the deep sea ports, one of the only deep sea, one of the prominent deep sea ports and it is this person built a ship complete locally, and therefore he is known as Kappalottiya Tamilan. Kappalottiya Tamilan means the Tamil person who built a ship and then started the first Swadeshi ship company. That is the history. Of course, I've gone there. That's why now he's getting. Wish you the very best. And in the logistics, of course, maritime studies are very important. Of course, if you just look at the growth of any society, growth of any culture, you can see that because we all just say the Vasco da Gama's travels. That was definitely something which we all remember, but what type of revolution it has created. And therefore, it is very important to just look at the impact of such events in the chemical industry. Now, of course, we are just looking at the chemical industry, the supply chain, logistics, and all that. So, for example, geopolitical disruptions that affect everything. Geopolitical disruptions we have seen, whether it be the Ukraine war or the US-China trade tensions. They have driven up they have restricted several things in the energy sector, restricted raw material success, increased volatility in chemical supply chains. These two things, very specific examples. Then we have climate-related disruptions, including droughts impacting routes like the Panama Canal. It is affecting that. So climate-related disruptions are also happening. Let us take a very clear example of 3 days or 4 days, maybe almost a week's rain in Bombay. How much we have been disrupted? How much the logistics have been affected by this? It is all. So when it comes to major climatic changes, also droughts and maybe floods. All these things affect, there are disruptions, and we have clear examples of how logistics have been affected negatively. So therefore, we have to just look at, we learn several things from such disruptions, and this has to be part of our future planning in logistics and supply chain. And then we have also, for example, pandemic, as earlier was mentioned, pandemic-driven disruptions. We have seen during the during the COVID-19 period, total disruptions. But lot of new things happened. 93% of the chemical industries were affected, totally affected by during the COVID situation. So such things may be happening. Of course, that was a global thing. But such things may be happening locally also, regionally also such things may be happening. This will also affect the logistics. Now we have mechanisms. For example, new technologies are there, new artificial intelligence is there, data-driven analytics is there. We have to predictive analytics. For example, predictive analytics is there. Now we should be able to just looking at these happenings right from historic times onwards, looking at these happenings and then maybe making use of technology, we should be able to, we are able, not we should be able, we are able to predict the futuristic trends. And it is very important. It's for planning, this is very important. Here we have to just look at, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, all these things, all technologies. I am not an expert in any of this field. But all these things are happening, and therefore it's very important to look at these things. And then also there are issues like trade wars. For example, trade wars raise tariffs and lead to uncertainty, limiting market access. That's also happening. Every day we are reading. We do not know what is going to happen. Maybe after 10 days, some of the major leader of the world just declaring something, we are getting affected. So we have to just look at all these political thinking and political things which are happening, and then how technology is changing, how the weather and the climate is changing, how even climate change is going to affect even maybe some of the small islands. Of course, you know that small islands are disappearing every year. We do not know how many very small islands are there. So the climate change is affecting all this. So in the logistics and supply chain also, these things are really affecting. We have clear examples. And therefore it is now with technology, with artificial intelligence, data-driven analytics, and IoT, all these things, we should make effective use of these things to analyze these things which have happened and maybe plan for the future in a very systematic way. And in order for that, of course, most of my friends here are from the industries, doing in the logistics and supply chain industry as an industry. And therefore, it's very important that these things should also be part of the training programs. We talk about management institutions. We have thousands of management institutes in the country. And it is very important that people, the students who are doing the managing, whether it be logistic management or the supply chain management, they should also understand what are the in things happening across the world. And therefore, as an academic, I will also suggest that the academic institution should come forward to understand some of these things. For example, the deliberations of these conferences like this should be known to, at least some students who are managing, who are participating, who are in very academic training and capacity building programs. Of course, I know that there are selective institutes doing that, but it's not enough. It is very important that what is the management, even an MBA program or PGDM in management is for managing all the aspects of enhancing the quality of life and life management systems. And disruption in this logistic, disruption in the supply chain, all these things are, we will see it is getting affected to us, but it has it is not that just have a regional connotation, it has a global connotation. And with the understanding of all these things, our students, our institution should be able to also look at these areas in a very systematic way. Lot of case studies are happening. For example, if you just look at case studies of Harvard case studies and all that, you will see a good number of examples of looking at disruption, innovation, and resilience in the industrial progress in different sectors, not only in chemical industry, in pharmaceutical industry, in the vaccine development. Of course, we have seen during the COVID period, we have probably the maximum, it was the total disruption. Everybody was very, of course, I was introduced as a chemistry professor. So we were just looking at what will happen to the chemistry research institutes and all these things, what will happen to research, all these experimental things, they will all disappear, what will happen. That was the feeling, because it was a total disruption. But later we could realize that when we just looked at innovation in science happened during that COVID year, 2 years, that year was the year of maximum innovation in the whole history of mankind in science. Maximum kind of innovation. The reason is that earlier we didn't have, it was very difficult to interact with people from all over the world. During the COVID period, we could see collaboration from maybe the research, from PG students to Nobel laureates. We have seen some sort of an unprecedented type of collaboration happening. And that is why we developed new medical devices, new vaccine, all these things come in a big way. So it was because of the disruption. During the disruption period, people collaborated in an unprecedented way. And therefore, it is very important that we see disruptions of all kinds everywhere, whether it be a political disruption by declaring some sort of an unreasonable tariff. You have seen the changes happening in orientations and alignments. So these are all, we will see it as a temporary thing, but it will have sustainable effect. And then we should look at when it comes to this supply chain and all that, we should also look at the regional manufacturing possibilities. For example, we should look in the case of some sort of a major disruption, how we can think of a regional manufacturing, not hub, regional manufacturing unit to just address the raw material concerns and all that. So all these things are very important. It is not only chemistry, science, technology, or engineering. It is also the human interventions. Human interventions are very important. Of course, artificial intelligence is going to come in a big way, but artificial intelligence will happen when we apply our intelligence properly. I used to say, when, as a teacher, of course, now they will ask what will happen to artificial intelligence, what will happen to all the jobs. They will all disappear, but nothing will disappear. Nothing human. Probably artificial intelligence will be part and parcel of every individual. That's going to happen. So I think I used to say that artificial intelligence will be definitely there, but without, the just opposite of that is natural stupidity. So natural stupidity, that is the individual, I think, has to go along with the artificial intelligence in addressing this issue. So I read about the effect of artificial intelligence. I just referenced some of these papers on impact of artificial intelligence, IoT, blockchain technology in these areas of supply chain, logistics, and all that. We could see a lot of promising attempts to positively look at this technology interruptions, technology disruptions, climate disruptions, maybe climate or weather disruptions or pandemic disruptions, or man-made disruptions. Man-made disruptions like policies, maybe some sort of an erratic policy diktat. All these things we are seeing, and therefore it is very important to look at this thing. A lot of case studies are available, whether it be the Harvard case studies or whether it be the case studies originating from some of our management institutions in the country. There are a lot of case studies on disruption, innovation, and resilience in supply chain and logistics. And it is very important that we should make use of it. We should read it, and we should act positively on that. I'm an incorrigible optimist. I think such disruptions are leading us to progress. We innovate, and then we get the resilience. So we faced the dance of disruption. We innovated in everything, and as a result, we are in a resilient situation. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and it is very important that we discuss these things probably with the management institutes and also specific research institutes. Of course, the government of India has major schemes connecting industry and all that. Of course, in the maritime, I was talking to the chairman of the Port Trust. So in the maritime institutions also, there are a lot of collaborations happening between industries, public institutions, and research labs to look at these futuristic ways of looking at logistics, disruption, and management in a very significant way. Let me wish this program all success. Once again, thank Mr. Praveen Prashant for extending me an invitation to come over here. He used to come to our university also quite often, and I would also, of course, as an academic, as a Vice Chancellor, I would invite you to my university also to just look at what we are doing in these areas. Thank you very much.